There's just something really extraordinarily evocative about it, and you don't know why, but it just like pulls at you. I think one of the beautiful things that Max always is able to do is to create a kind of a sonic world, which in our case is both orchestral and live instrumentational and electronic, which is not only evocative on its own terms, but kind of throws a golden line back into your memory to pull memories out that you then associate with the experience in real time. And I think that's why his music is streamed 1 billion times, whatever it is, literally on Spotify.
Wayne and I have worked together quite a lot, and over the years we've developed a pretty informal kind of conversational process. We just shuffle ideas back and forth, exchange enthusiasms and strategies and little plans and sketches. I guess both of us are really driven by a kind of curiosity, a sense of the surprises, the potential surprises in the project. I think that's what sort of drives us on.
So the 3 acts are very different. They have a very kind of like different tone. Perhaps the first act might feel more conventional in terms of the storytelling, flashback as a convention, music that you would associate with that novel.
It sort of tells you what the overall shape of the world is. So there is some instrumental music, there is some text, there is some electronic music, and it sets up this idea that the architecture will be an interplay between these things.
Perhaps Act 2 actually conflates many different ideas and sits in a more aggressive electronic language, where there are these kind of like beautiful utopian vistas that open out into contrast with the real violence and the destruction and the kind of bleaker picture of 2.
It starts out from the perspective of the gods' gardeners, so it starts very acoustically, but then it quite quickly pivots towards a kind of supercharged version of the Act 1 language. So all of the sort of jeopardy and questions of Act 1 are sort of pushed much further in Act 2. Act 2's pretty crazy.
And Act 3, as it stands at the moment, is something which just soars. It's music of hope and aspiration, and there's still grit inside, but it elevates us.
A potential future, a potential set of solutions. All of the 3 acts share material, and actually each act ends with a different trip through the same kind of material. So you have a sense of recurrence and recognition in the music throughout. It's all based around this little falling line. So this is a really simple object. And you hear this at the end of each act.
When the score finally arrived, I knew that this was going to be something that we haven't experienced.
The material's pretty crazy, but David has been very generous in entertaining all the mad schemes. Working with the ballet for me is a great adventure, because my world is normally full of text, but working with the ballet, I'm working with this other language. And it's another language which the language of movement, to some extent, I kind of stand outside it because I really don't understand it. And I'm very happy not to understand it. I feel like I'm sort of on holiday in another language when I'm working with the ballet. And I love that feeling of sort of not quite knowing what's going on, because it allows a kind of spontaneity and freshness in terms of my response to it.
I don't want to say that he's a groundbreaker, but he's an evolutionist. I think that for him and his experience growing up and being influenced by all kinds of music, whether it's pop or rock or punk or being classically trained or electronica, it's all one thing. There are no boundaries. And that's what makes his music, I think, so special, is that he doesn't feel that we have to make those distinctions.
The beauty of music, the point of music, the reason we work with bodies and music together is it's that experience that you have, first of all, somatically in your own body, that you get through the music. It places you in a territory, then you have images that either contrast with that or actually go along with that. And that's really powerful. So I'm really excited to hear that played live. And I know Max is always going to find a way of doing what you expect, but also do the thing you don't expect.